Paracelsus is often remembered as an alchemist, a strange physician, a difficult reformer, a man surrounded by mercury, sulfur, furnaces, secret medicines, and impossible claims. But the strongest way to understand him is more precise than that. Paracelsus was a physician of fire, not because he worshipped fire, not because fire made him look mysterious, because, in his world, fire was not just a symbol of transformation. Fire was the operation that made transformation possible. It entered matter. It tested matter. It separated what was mixed. It purified what was crude. It revealed what a substance could become. That is the core of this video. Paracelsus matters because he stands at a point where medicine, alchemy, chemistry, and natural magic still meet. They are not yet separate shells. They belong to the same question. What must happen to matter before it can become medicine? That question is the key, because ordinary symbolic language often says, fire means transformation. That is not wrong, but it is too weak. For Paracelsus, fire does not only mean transformation. Fire performs transformation. It acts on a substance. The substance receives the operation. The operation changes its condition, and the changed substance can become capable of acting on the body. That is the chain. Fire acts. Matter receives. Art prepares. Medicine becomes active. This is why Paracelsus cannot be reduced to a strange doctor with strange remedies. He belongs to a chemical way of thinking. And in that chemical view, nature gives the material, but art prepares it. A plant is not automatically a medicine because it grows. A mineral is not automatically useful because it exists. A metal is not understood only by its weight, shine, or hardness. Each thing may carry a hidden virtue, not virtue in the moral sense. Virtue as active capacity, the power of a thing to act, to resist, to preserve, to purge, to bind, to open, to correct, to transform. But that virtue is not always ready in the crude substance. Sometimes it must be drawn out. Sometimes it must be separated from what corrupts it. Sometimes it must be concentrated. Sometimes it must be fixed. Sometimes it must be moderated so it does not harm. This is where the furnace becomes central. The furnace is not scenery. It is not there to make alchemy look dramatic. It is the place where matter is questioned. A substance enters the heat. Then the operation begins. Something volatile rises. Something fixed remains. Something blackens. Something melts. Something resists. Something separates. Something becomes clearer than it was before. Fire does not accept appearances. It does not care what a thing is called. It asks what the thing can endure and what can be brought out of it. This is the deeper meaning of Paracelsus as a physician of fire. He does not treat medicine as a list of names. He treats medicine as prepared action. The physician is not only the person who identifies a disease. The physician must understand what is acting inside the body and what can act upon it. The body, in this older view, is not dead machinery. It is a living composition, a mixture, a field of disorder, corruption, imbalance, powers, signatures, and hidden relations. So the remedy must also be more than a substance with a label. It must be a prepared force, a substance brought into the right condition, a substance whose virtue has been made usable. That is why chemical medicine is not the same as ordinary herbal folklore. It is not only, this plant is good for this, or this mineral is good for that. It asks a sharper question. What must be done to the substance? Must it be heated, separated, distilled, fermented, putrefied, fixed, purified, made subtle, made stable, made capable of entering the body without remaining crude? These operations matter because they change the relation between matter and medicine. A crude thing is not the same as a prepared thing. A raw force is not the same as an ordered force. A dangerous substance is not the same as a corrected substance. In the Paracelsian imagination, the difference between poison and medicine is not only the material, it is the operation. This is why his conflict with inherited medicine is so important. Paracelsus is not only rejecting old names, he is challenging a medicine based too heavily on repetition. A doctrine can be ancient, a system can be respected, a master can be famous, but if the knowledge does not act on the suffering body, what is it worth? That is the hard edge of Paracelsus. He shifts the question from authority to operation. Not only, who said this, but what does this do? Does it prepare a remedy? Does it reveal the virtue of matter? Does it meet the disease with an active force? Does it transform anything? Or does it only preserve a vocabulary? That is why fire becomes more than an image. Fire is the visible form of this break. The old word is burned. The crude substance is burned. The false appearance is burned. What cannot endure is exposed. What can be purified is carried forward. In that sense, fire becomes the passage from received medicine to operative medicine. And this makes Paracelsus difficult, but also clear. He stands at a crossing point. Medicine, surgery, chemistry, alchemy, natural magic, Kabbalah. The language can feel excessive. The claims can feel hard to accept. The legends around him can become distracting. But the central movement is simple. Medicine must become an art of transformation. Not transformation as a vague inner idea. Transformation is a real operation performed on matter. This is why Mercury is such a strong example in the Paracelsian world. Mercury is unstable, shining, fluid, difficult to hold. It refuses ordinary form. In alchemical language, it naturally suggests volatility, movement, and hidden potency. But crude mercury is not automatically medicine. That would be the mistake. The point is preparation. A substance must be brought into another condition before it can act differently. The unstable must be ordered. The dangerous must be corrected. The crude must be worked. The volatile must be handled by art. Mercury shows the logic clearly because it forces the question. What changes when a substance is prepared? That is the Chymical question. Not only what is the thing, but what can the thing become under the correct operation? The same logic applies to fire itself. Fire is not one thing only. It can dry. It can separate. It can consume. It can clarify. It can fuse. It can mature. It can destroy. It can prepare. That is why the degree of heat matters. The vessel matters. The timing matters. The material matters. The operator matters. Too little fire, and nothing opens. Too much fire, and the substance is ruined. Wrong vessel, wrong result. Wrong preparation, wrong medicine. This is not vague mysticism. It is a disciplined logic of operation. Something acts, something receives. A condition must be correct. An effect follows. That is exactly why fire is so easy to misunderstand. If we only say, fire symbolizes transformation, we stay outside the work. We name the idea, but we miss the mechanism. For Paracelsus, fire has meaning because fire acts. It is not a decorative metaphor placed over medicine. It is the process by which crude matter can become prepared virtue. That phrase is important. Prepared virtue. A remedy is not only matter. It is matter brought into a condition where its active capacity can be used. So the physician becomes close to the alchemist. Both refuse to stop at the first appearance of matter. The alchemist asks what the metal can become. The physician asks what the remedy can become. Both are working with transformation. Both are asking how hidden power becomes active form. And both understand that nature alone is not the whole work. Nature gives the material. Art completes the preparation. This is also where natural magic enters the subject. Natural magic does not ask only what a thing means. It asks what a thing does. What does this plant carry? What does this mineral resist? What does this metal receive? What does fire release? What does the body accept? What relation joins the remedy and the disease? Under what condition can the operation work? Paracelsus belongs to that world. A world where medicine is not separate from matter, virtue, correspondence, preparation, and transformation. A world where the body is active, nature is active, substances are active, and art exists to direct that activity. That does not mean the old remedies should be imitated. This is not a practical medical instruction. The point is to understand the structure of the thought. Paracelsus helps us see why medicine and alchemy could once belong together, not because the tradition confused fantasy with healing, but because it treated matter as unfinished. Matter could be opened, corrected, separated, purified, made subtle, made stable, made active, and fire was one of the great instruments of that passage. This also protects alchemy from a weak modern reading. Alchemy is often reduced to inner transformation only. That may be useful for some modern interpretations, but it is not enough here. The older chemical imagination is deeply material. It works with minerals, metals, plants, vessels, heat, residues, vapors, liquids, and preparations. It does not escape matter. It studies matter through change. That is why Paracelsus remains useful for this channel. He keeps the technical notion alive. Fire is not only a metaphor. Chymistry is not only early chemistry. Alchemy is not only symbolism. Medicine is not only diagnosis. And knowledge is not only repeating what earlier authorities preserved. Knowledge is recognizing what acts, what receives, what changes, under what condition, and with what effect. So if one sentence has to remain, let it be this. For Paracelsus, fire was not the symbol of medicine. Fire was the operation that made medicine possible. It separated the mixed. It purified the crude. It tested the substance. It revealed the hidden virtue. It turned matter into remedy. That is why the title says, Paracelsus turned fire into medicine. Not because every cure was flame, but because the heart of his medicine is the passage from crude matter to prepared action, from hidden virtue to usable remedy, from substance to operation, from fire to medicine. And once that is clear, Paracelsus becomes less strange, not less intense, not less difficult, but more readable. He is not only the eccentric alchemist surrounded by legends. He is the physician of a world where matter had hidden powers, and the task of art was to bring those powers into action. Fire became medicine because medicine itself became an art of transformation. Subscribe for more notions from the Hermetic tradition.